Hello, I'm Aidan Brown. I'm a lecturer at Belfast Metropolitan College. It's my great pleasure to be talking about the opportunities presented by the higher level apprenticeship programme. My guest today is John Cullen from Danske Bank. John, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, Aidan. Thanks for having me.
You've done so much in the last 20 years. Maybe you could start by walking us through that career journey and then we'll talk about the great things that you're doing now.
Certainly. Okay, so I started at Danske Bank. It was my first real job after finishing university. So it's 20 years in October this year that I've been there. I've had various roles in different departments throughout these past 20 years. I have to say the majority 14 of those years were spent dealing with customers in financial difficulties in the bank's debt management department. I've recently moved over the past 2 years, first to our Consumer Protection Centre, where I produced the MI for the team, and then in the last sort of 18 months over to the Technology and Digital Development Department, where I'm currently working as a business analyst, which basically involves coordinating projects for that come in as data requests.
Just before I move on to your change in IT, I wonder if you could tell us about the skills that you developed and learned in those 14 years dealing with people who were really experiencing difficulties and who were quite vulnerable.
Yes, yeah, and as you say, vulnerability became a much more hot topic in the past, sort of towards the end of those 14 years. But even from the start, every customer was different. There was no way, I certainly tried never to bracket a customer to try and pigeonhole them into this one does this one does this. It was basically what I felt I had to do was to speak to the customers, try to understand them, try to build a relationship with them, work out what had went wrong, where the bank could go to help them, or what the bank could do to help them. And it was very much treating the customer on the other end of the phone, forgetting that they're even a customer, making sure you treated them as a human being, and not trying to forget that fact. I think is probably important. Is the important thing.
Very important, and you carried that skill into your current role. And my next question to you is, why the change to IT? Was that something you've always been interested in?
Yes, it has. I mean, I've always considered myself a techie person. I do like my technology, but my job roles never really involved. It was very much sort of interpersonal skills. But I always would have tried to keep up to date with the latest technology, more at a superficial level probably, rather than in getting in depth in it. But at Danske Bank, they're very, very good at promoting staff development. So over the years, we're encouraged to take courses through the Institute of Bankers, and I had done a diploma pathway, and some of the courses involved were data analytics and digital skills. And I remember when I came back after I'd passed those exams and came back, and I was full of great ideas, and I would love to be able to use them. But with the role I was doing, it wasn't really applicable. So the first time that I saw an opportunity to basically use those skills, I thought I'm gonna go for that, and I applied for the job in the Consumer Protection Centre, and then got that job, and then moved on to my new role.
Well, we're pretty risk averse in this part of the world, and there could be people watching you today going, "Gosh, I've been doing my job and achieving success for 10 years, for 15 years, maybe 20 years. What would you say to someone who's thinking of making that big change?
I would say go for it. If you're having the thought of it, go for it. Because I do feel, and speak for myself, your job, as much as you may enjoy doing it, and you may enjoy, may find it fulfilling, you do get yourself into a bit of a same old situation. So I think if you've had the thought that you potentially want to move on, you want to learn something new, I would say go for it. You're never too old to learn a new job. I'm not going to pretend it's not scary. It's not a challenge, but it's certainly well worth it.
It is a challenge and it is hard work. I wonder if you could reflect on that again for the people who are watching you and thinking, I think I might do what John did. What kind of support's available at Belfast Met for learners returning?
What we're doing this year is the HLA, and it is fantastic. It's not something I was aware of until this year. Danske Bank had promoted it, but to staff at a lower grade level than what I was at. So this year it was opened up to my grade level, and I just looked at it and thought it was fantastic. You know, well, I suppose it's maybe slightly different for me, but you know, I'm getting paid to learn. Basically, there's no debt. It's not costing me anything. I'm developing new skills that even now I know I can go back to my team on Monday and you know take into the team, and yeah, it's just a really great opportunity to be able to do that.
So people are thinking of changing careers. You've talked about the support, your company supporting you every step of the way. There's great support at Belfast Met. I wonder, could you cast your mind back and talk to your 18-year-old self, if I could put it that way, and you're thinking about university. You graduated in 2003, as I remember. So go back and talk to your 18-year-old self, and you're thinking, should I go to university? That's great. Or should I do a higher level apprenticeship? I'm not absolutely sure what that is.
I suppose if I knew then what I know now, I would say higher level apprenticeship all the time. University, don't get me wrong, it's great, and you do come away with valuable skills. But with the degree I did, which is management economics, it was very, very theoretical, and it, you know, with higher level apprenticeship, I feel there's more hands-on, there's more skills development, there's more things you could take into a job tomorrow and actually sit down and start working it without maybe having to learn, go backwards and learn what you don't know, what you haven't learned at university. So I personally think if I had to do it again, this would be the way to go.
Well, you've given very sound advice to your 18-year-old self and to those who've been working in industry for some time. John, thank you so much for joining me today and for sharing your thoughts and insight with those who are watching.
Thank you, Aidan. It's been a pleasure.
I'm Aidan Brown, and this is Belfast Met.